V Squared Outdoors here. Today we're going to be showing you how to mount a Lowrance Active Target on a Minn Kota Ulterra trolling motor. And that's right, we're going to mount it on a self-deploying Ulterra trolling motor. So what we have right here is instructions on how to put this together. It's pretty simple. Just a hose clamp around the barrel of the trolling motor, and the transducer goes right on the side. Now I'm going to show you a tip on how to make sure that transducer is going to work correctly. Okay, I'm back here again. I have the transducer mounted on the barrel of the trolling motor. Now you can see I already have the 3-in-1 on the barrel, so this is going to go off to the side. Works really well. The only trick is you have to secure this transducer through the bottom of the bracketing there. It's a little tricky. You want to keep it away from that mounting post, as you can see right there. So as you can see here, I have it mounted on the side of the barrel of the trolling motor. Now, one of the most important things is obviously using forward mode with this system. So to have the transducer in a proper alignment, you have 3 lines on the transducer. What you want to make sure is the bottom one is square with the barrel of the trolling motor, and the top one's up at an angle, and so is your middle one. Now what that's going to do is that's going to give you the forward scanning, the partial forward scanning, and the downward scanning all in one. So you could just stay on forward mode, jig, and still see the fish in front of you, or you can flip back and go to the downward mode. And the next question is how is this going to work in a self-deploying motor? Well, you can see here with my 3-in-1, I have it mounted on the barrel, secured to the base. It goes through just a cable clamp, and it tracks right up to the top of my trolling motor. And on my trolling motor up there, there's a spring. Let me zoom in for you there. There's a spring. Now what that spring is going to do is going to give you enough tension to hold the cable in place and also allow your head to turn partially. And I say partially, you can get away with a full round movement, but you don't want to continue that way because obviously it'll damage the cables. So we're going to do the same thing with the Ulterra one here. We're going to try it, and then we're going to put the main module in the boat. So for the cabling itself, we're going to use these cable clamps. You can buy them at Menards, you can buy them at Ace Hardware. I picked up actually one set from Ace Hardware and another set from Menards. That is what's going to fix to the base of the trolling motor here, and the cable then is allowed to, of the transducer, allowed to slide through again up to the top spring. So it has tension, plus it'll give you slack. So what we have here now is I put one zip tie on the inside of that shaft and another zip tie through that first existing zip tie to allow the cable clamp to flex and turn to the correct location for the transducer cable. You can see I removed the original cable clamp from the 3-in-1 cable, and the reason why is I had to reposition it because I had to fit 2 cables through now. Okay, so I got the zip tie around the shaft there of the mounting base, another zip tie through that, and the next scene I'll show you with the cable clamp on there. Okay, so the cable clamp is on there. I just need to secure it down, and I'll pull it down in 1 second. Again, I don't got any fancy cameras. I'm just using my phone here. But it's a great thing I figured out many years ago, and it works excellent. And boom, there it is. It's secured down. Now you can see this time it's turned off to the side because the active target is going to be facing the other direction. So it'll allow both cables to work side by side. And then trimmed off, it looks just like that. Sits in there almost like it was made for it. Again, the cable goes right through there, up to the spring. So the next part, I'll be putting on the 3-in-1, the active target transducer, mounting it to the base here, and cable. All right, V Squared Outdoors back here again. So I'm just leaving this loose in here just to show you. I got the one cable clamp, one zip tie around the shaft there. I left the other one out there, ran it through the cable clamp, and over the transducer cable for the active target. So next thing you know, you'll see it secured together. All right, so now I have the cable clamp secure on the 3-in-1 transducer cable. And it's also secured around the shaft. All I need to do is trim that tail there. I don't think I'm going to secure it to the base, because since the 3-in-1 is further out from the barrel, it actually aligns almost perfect. So I'm not going to secure it to the base. I'll just put a spring on up there again with tension at the head of the motor. Okay, V-Squared Outdoors back here again. This is what it looks like from the top view with both cables strung through, attached to the base of the Ulterra. Again, right from the active target, right through that loop, and we're going to go right up to the shaft to the head there. All right, so now I'm near the head of the motor. I got the cable strung up this way. And the problem I have today is the spring I bought isn't as flexible as the spring that's on here. So I'm going to need to pick up a new spring tomorrow, but I'll still continue threading this. And so what I'm doing is you bring the cable right up to the head of the motor. The spring will attach right in here, the second spring, and then thread it right down the middle of the twists of the trolling motor. It's going to go from there into the nose of this Ranger Z21. Now, the problem we have here again is I'm full of cables. So I'm going to have to drill a secondary hole, put in a grommet, and run the cable into there. And you want to run the cable into the nose of your boat and secure it. That way it's less likely this transducer will be stalled, because it would be a major project to remove it from the nose of the boat. V-Squared Outdoors here, back again with the active target being mounted on a Minn Kota Ulterra. Absolutely love this motor, self-deploying. So again, what I have the 3-in-1 on the bottom and the active target mounted to the barrel of the trolling motor. Right here are the two brackets that I made out of cable ties that allow the cable to slide through. The cable goes up. And the reason why there's two cables on here again is I have a 3-in-1 on here. It attaches to a spring. You leave some gap here in the head so the motor can spin around, and then if it tightens up, you got some spring plays. You can see quite a bit of play there. You don't want a stiff spring on there, and the reason why you don't want a stiff spring is it could damage your cable. So you want a nice flexible spring. Again, you won't be overextending them all the time. Then the cables ran down through there. They're going to loop back, and I'm going to have to create yet another hole because I don't have space in here to mount, to bring in the transducer cable to the module. My boat's dirty because it's been in storage here all winter, and so I apologize for that. But if you have any questions, feel free to message me here on YouTube. Again, V-Squared Outdoors, we're out there to help you catch more fish. V-Squared Outdoors again, back here to show you the motor deploying with the cables going through it. It's a little trick here, doing it by myself. It hit the... And you can see how nicely they slide right through the bracket. Again, and I gotta watch this so I don't hit the ceiling or the boat trailer. V-Squared Outdoors here. Yesterday we wired in the active target system here up to the motor, put the spring in, attached the spring, taped it off, left the loop there so the head can turn. And now today what we're going to do is we're going to remove the face panel here of this Ranger Z21 and put in the active target into the nose and wire it in. Okay, so we got the faceplate removed. You can see there's an accessory switch on here. I believe that is these two posts right over here, the negative and the positive connection. That'll work perfect to hook the active target up to. And most importantly, inside here, there's plenty of space to mount the active target. So this is going to be a go. We'll continue showing you step by step on how this is done. V Squared Outdoors here, back again to show you the finished product of the active target mounted on the Minn Kota Ulterra. In the previous video, you saw how I strung everything. In the next video, you'll actually see it working out on the water. But so this video is going to show the finished product. So what we have here is, again, like in all the other videos, we have the 3-in-1 on the bottom of the barrel, the active target on the side of the barrel. Did not put any clamps or zip ties on the cord of the active target. It's warned against it. It can reduce the imaging. So I used to use Gorilla Tape. Again, ran the cables right up through the cable holders that are connected down into the shaft, as you saw previously. That runs right up to the spring-loaded mechanism up here. And it's essential for the spring. Now, I decided just to go with one spring because the one spring is going to allow even more flexibility than two. Again, no zip ties, just taped. And I added that extra loop for flexibility in the head. Then it travels right back down the shaft. Down the wiring. Right down to the base. From the base, right back out and into this grommet. Underneath the nose of this front end of this Ranger Z21, there's an accessory switch over here, which I hooked into. There was 2 pigtails. And again, as I found out that there's actually some voltage leakage coming out even when the power's off, and I absolutely don't want that going into the module of the active target system, so I added a secondary switch right here. It is lights up via LED, and I decided to mount the active targeting system in my rod locker. And the reason why I did that is when it comes to wintertime, I can easily remove it and reinstall it to my ice fishing gear. Okay, I'm back here again. And what I'm going to show you now is how I actually mounted in the active target module and also a hub, a networking hub that distributes the signal to all the depth finders in the boat. Just a cool item. And with it connected, you can control all the depth finders with just one command on just one depth finder. Really a cool system. So what we have here is I actually found out that the rod holders actually go up into the nose of the boat. So wiring is fairly easy. I just sacrificed one of the rod holders, which you can see right there. I ran my power line through, I ran the transducer cord through, and I ran a return cord back up to the front, an Ethernet return cable that will hook up to the front depth finder. Right here is the module itself. I mounted it with the connections on the downside. I know they recommended having on the side. However, with water coming in, this is almost 100% fail-safe system that, since the connections are on the bottom, the least chance of getting any water in the active target module. And from the active target module, I connected to the networking hub, which distributes it throughout the boat. With that one switch in the front, which, like I showed you, turns on both the active target module and the networking hub. It's an awesome system the way it works, and in the next section, you'll see it working actually on the water. V Squared Outdoors here, the second part of the active target system mounted on a Ranger Z21, and it's also mounted on the trolling motor, which is a Minn Kota Ulterra. And as you saw in the first part how to do the installation, the second part I'm going to show you here how it actually functions out in the lake. So as I walk up here in my boat, what I have up here is the HDS 9. I already have the system turned on. And the way I rig the system is there's an accessory switch right up here on the panel. However, when I tested it, there was still some voltage leakage going into the module, which is back in my rod compartment back there, which I'll show you in a few minutes here. So I put in a secondary switch to make sure that that voltage is cut off, otherwise that could damage the equipment. Like in the last videos, we have the 3-in-1 mounted on the bottom. We have the active target mounted on the barrel. The cabling goes right through there, right up to the head. I have the spring on here with enough slack so you can use the spot lock on the system without compromising your cables. So what I'll do now is I'll deploy the system, showing it actually in water, not in the garage. So here we go. And you can see how the cables slide right through. Motor goes down and in. I'm going to lower it just a little further down for you. And as of turning with this system, like I said, you can go a full revolution. And there's a revolution and a half, and the cables are not snug yet. So spot lock, it works excellent in this mounting system. I'm going to bring it back here. And now we'll take a look at the graph here. So what we got here is we've identified some panfish here in the southern Minnesota lake. We are in 8 feet of water and there's weeds. And again, this is the Lowrance Active Target system. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go up here to menu. I'm going to change this to downward range 10 feet. And now this is when you're going to get the best view. And as you can see, those lines off to the right, that's fish. And you can also see the weeds on the bottom. So as I turn the head, you can see there's no fish pointing straight downwind from where we're at. But I go a little bit more to my left. Boom, there's a few fish. Right there is a school. Those images, 30 feet away, are right exactly 4 feet down. And a way to check that is actually click on one of the dots. And Lowrance has this nice system of giving you the exact depth. So if you're fishing that fish right there, you want to be exactly 4 feet down. You want to be above the fish so they're coming up to grab it. If you're below the fish, they're not going to see it. So this is just an awesome system. I can manage this from anywhere in my boat just by, again, turning the head of the motor and seeing the different views of the fish. So right there is a good marked school. That school there is exactly 30 feet away. I'm going to clear the cursor. I can click on the fish right here. And again, it's giving us the information. You can see it's 31 feet away. 31.3 feet away. The fish is 4.8 feet down. And so that'll tell us exactly, with the head pointing this way, to cast out into that area, 31.3 feet, and you want your line set at about 4.3 feet of water. So again, this is just an incredible system. V Squared Outdoors here. Like our page, and if you have any tips, suggestions, share them with others. You know, that's what V Squared Outdoors is about, is helping others in the community become better fishermen and fisher ladies. It ain't about showing us, it's about showing others and helping others in the outdoors. V Squared Outdoors again, just continuing our clip. You know, in the last clip I actually showed you how the system works on the water, and I want to show you the results. So we've identified fish in shallow water, deep water. We found the crappies out in deeper water and the sunfish out in smaller water. So what I've done for this video is I actually sorted the fish according to their species, just to show you an example. Off to the left well here are the sunfish. They're all running at least at 3/4 to a pound, 3/4 pound to a pound. And the crappies are approximately 12 inches. Just some beautiful fish. And again, we've done this all by the active target system. Basically, we're identifying schools and targeting schools. We're not targeting structure. We're just targeting the schools of fish, going after those schools, figuring out what they are, and then hanging on them if we want to stay on that species. If not, we're moving forward. So, and again, V Squared Outdoors out here. It ain't about, you know, showing who we are, but helping others in the outdoors. So, have a wonderful day, and good luck out there.